My name is Dan Kim, and I'm the chair of the CAEP Emergency Ultrasound Committee. At our June 2021 meeting, there was a lot of change in the membership of the committee. I'd first like to acknowledge the brilliant and significant contributions from the outgoing members of the committee. David Lewis was an influential clinical lead, and we had some fantastic members at large, including Michael Wu, Chow Pham, Lori Robichaud, Louise Rang, and Claire Heslop. And of course, I have a very difficult act to follow as Paul Olshinsky provided exemplary leadership for this committee. We have a lot of new faces to welcome to the EUC, including Gillian Shepard as our new education lead, Colin Bell as our new clinical lead, Talia Brennan as our new communications lead, and several new members at large, including Ann Aspler, Greg Hall, Noam Katz, Elizabeth Lalonde, Aaron Raw, and Rajiv Thavanathan. On the education front, I have a few things to report. The EUC put on a well-received National Grand Round session on November 3rd, and members of our executives talked about ocular POCUS, ultrasound-guided regional anesthesia, and musculoskeletal POCUS. We recently published a new study of POCUS training in Canadian emergency medicine residency programs. Of note, all these programs in the country provide POCUS training for their residents. Although only 22% of the programs reported that our CAEP Core POCUS curriculum position statement changed the way they delivered their POCUS education, almost all programs in the country teach these core applications. The EUC is also very excited that the SONA Olympiad will be returning for the first in-person CAEP conference in a couple of years. Gillian Shepard is organizing and hosting this event, so make sure you don't miss it. Moving on to the clinical portfolio, members of the committee, led by Colin Bell, have created a document outlining a business case for why a department or hospital should support a point-of-care ultrasound program. We submitted this document to CGEM and hope it will be accepted for publication so it can become a useful resource for all Canadian emergency physicians. We're also in the process of organizing an industry roundtable event to partner either with our committee meeting or the SONA Olympiad. The idea behind this is to bring ultrasound industry representatives together with POCUS experts in one place, so there can be a back and forth between ultrasound manufacturers and users on how to improve the utility of these tools. From a research standpoint, the EUC hosted a National Ultrasound Journal Club on November the 4th. We invited two POCUS research experts, Paul Atkinson and Michael Wu, to speak about their experiences with POCUS research and to discuss their ideas and visions of where POCUS research in Canada may be heading in the future. Tom Jellick, our research lead, was successful in establishing a new $5,000 POCUS research grant sponsored by Sonosite. Sonosite's request was to have the grant focus on education in ultrasound-guided analgesia, and unfortunately, due to this overly narrow scope, we were unable to award this grant to a suitable applicant. However, this was an excellent learning experience, and in the future, we hope to continue this type of research grant model, but with an expanded scope so that more POCUS research ideas are eligible for funding. We will also be unveiling our first iteration of the EUC's POCUS Research Awards at our meeting at CAEP. Our communications lead is a new position, and Talia Brennan has done a great job with rolling out the first issue of the EUC's newsletter this past fall. We also have an active presence on Twitter. Lastly, our rural portfolio had a nice highlight this past year. Our rural co-lead Rafiq Andani hosted a National Grand Round session on rural POCUS on December 1st, and this was enthusiastically received. Rosen Dempsey has recently left her position as rural co-lead as she has moved to a larger urban center, and we thank her for her contributions to the committee. We're delighted to welcome Taft Mix, one of the speakers at this NGR session, to the EUC as a new rural co-lead. Rafiq is also spearheading a survey project of rural emergency clinicians to get a sense of what their use of POCUS looks like and to determine what their barriers to POCUS use are. It's been a privilege to be the chair of the EUC this past year. We have an executive that is diverse, enthusiastic, and engaged, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what this committee is able to accomplish in the upcoming year.